Most people wake up every morning, trade their hours for a paycheck, save whatever is left, and hope that one day enough of it will pile up to call it wealth. But the ultra-rich don't operate that way. They don't grind harder, they pull levers. And those levers quietly multiply their power, their assets, and their control over outcomes, while most of the world remains completely unaware. This is the hidden leverage the wealthy use, and once it's seen clearly, the gap between rich and everyone else starts making a very different kind of sense. Controlling more with less. The most foundational tool the wealthy reach for is financial leverage. It is the art of using borrowed capital to control assets far greater in value than the money actually spent. Most people are taught to fear debt. They are told to pay off mortgages early, avoid borrowing, and never spend what they do not have. The wealthy were taught something entirely different. Warren Buffett built Berkshire Hathaway not just by picking great companies, but by channeling borrowed capital into high-returning assets for decades. Elon Musk, despite being one of the richest humans alive, does not stockpile cash. Instead, he borrows against the value of his Tesla shares whenever he needs liquidity. This way he never sells his assets, never triggers a taxable event, and keeps compounding wealth while the loans cost far less than what his investments return. Jeff Bezos followed a similar path, pledging assets as collateral rather than cashing out, thereby growing his empire without shrinking his ownership stake. This system has a name: the buy, borrow, die strategy. The wealthy buy appreciating assets like real estate, stocks, or stakes in private companies. Then they borrow against those assets at low interest rates, giving themselves tax-free access to cash. They never sell, so they never pay capital gains tax. When they eventually pass those assets to heirs, the tax basis is reset, wiping away decades of accumulated gains entirely. What feels like a loophole to outsiders is simply a roadmap the wealthy follow with discipline. The mechanics are straightforward once explained. A person who borrows $1 million at 4% interest and invests it into assets, returning 12% annually, is pocketing an 8% difference without using a dollar of their own. This is not gambling, it is calculated amplification. The risk is real, but it is managed through careful selection of assets, maintenance of liquidity, and disciplined diversification. Oracle founder Larry Ellison pledged over $4 billion in company shares to fund his other ventures, demonstrating that using assets as fuel for further acquisition is standard thinking among the truly wealthy. Multiplying output without multiplying hours. Financial leverage is powerful, but it has a ceiling. Time leverage has almost none. The second lever the wealthy pull is the conversion of their time into systems and people that continue working long after they stop. Every person on Earth gets 24 hours. What separates the ultra-wealthy is how ruthlessly they protect their highest leverage hours and delegate everything else. Warren Buffett spends nearly 80% of his day reading and thinking. He does not attend back-to-back meetings, manage low-level decisions, or answer routine emails. His thinking is the highest leverage activity he can perform for Berkshire Hathaway, and so that is what he protects. Everything else is delegated, automated, or eliminated. Jeff Bezos famously ran Amazon using the two-pizza rule. No meeting should need more than 2 pizzas to feed the group. He banned slide decks in favor of structured memos, because he understood that poorly run meetings are among the most destructive forces in a business, quietly draining the cognitive capacity of every person in the room. Elon Musk runs multiple billion-dollar companies simultaneously, not because he works every task himself, but because he delegates or automates anything that doesn't require his specific genius. He focuses on strategy, vision, and the decisions only he can make. This is time leverage in its truest form. The wealthy don't sell their hours. They build systems and teams that earn while they sleep, travel, or think about the next move. An author earns royalties long after the book is written. A real estate investor collects rent without clocking in. A founder who builds the right team continues generating returns from the collective effort of hundreds or thousands of people. The system runs, the wealth compounds. The leverage holds, borrowing, trust, and opening closed doors. The third lever is perhaps the most invisible and the most powerful. It is the lever of networks, relationships, and social capital. For the wealthy, who you know is not a cliché. It is infrastructure. The story of the PayPal mafia makes this undeniably clear. In the early 2000s, a group of entrepreneurs, including Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Reid Hoffman, and Max Levchin, built PayPal together and sold it to eBay. Rather than parting ways, they stayed connected, funded each other's next ventures, and pooled their credibility and capital. That same network went on to birth or fund Tesla, SpaceX, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Palantir. That is not coincidence. That is strategic network leverage operating at its most effective. Each person in that circle used the trust built with others to open doors, attract talent, and secure capital that would have been impossible to reach alone. Warren Buffett's inner circle operates the same way. His long partnership with Charlie Munger produced decades of compounded wisdom and aligned judgment. His relationships with business leaders, politicians, and institutional investors gave him access to deals that never reached the public market. When Berkshire Hathaway invested in Goldman Sachs during the 2008 financial crisis, it wasn't just money that made that deal possible. It was Buffett's unmatched reputation and the trust the financial world placed in his name. Network leverage works because trust is the most efficient currency in the world. It removes friction, speeds up decisions, and opens opportunities that money alone cannot buy. The wealthy invest in relationships the way others invest in assets, deliberately, patiently, and with an eye on long-term returns. They show up, they add value first, and they build ecosystems of high-trust connections that keep multiplying their opportunities long after any single deal is done. The hidden truth connecting all three levers is this: the wealthy do not play a game of accumulation. They play a game of control. Control over assets, over time, over access. And control, once established through leverage, compounds on itself without limit. The most important takeaway is not that these strategies belong only to billionaires. Every one of these levers has a version accessible to ordinary people. A first mortgage is financial leverage. A side business that earns while one sleeps is time leverage. A carefully built professional network is social leverage. The principles do not change based on the size of the balance sheet. What changes is the scale, the sophistication, and the willingness to think the way the wealthy think. To stop trading time for money and start using leverage to control outcomes instead.